Hello, welcome back to my channel, Andy the Spirit Walker. Today marks the day 28 of my recovery against cancer, and today will be the day I'll be admitting into the hospital, probably in an hour or two, for my second cycle of chemotherapy treatment. And if all things goes well, I'll be out in a week's time. So the process is the same as before, except that I don't have to do a chemo port surgery this time round. So yeah, the basically today admission, then tomorrow I'll be doing immunotherapy, which probably lasts around 6 to 8 hours, and 1 hour later I will start the first bag of chemotherapy, which lasts 24 hours, and there will be four bags, so 24 hours each bag. And on the last day, probably Friday, after the four bags done, then I will have like a last bag kind of thing after the four bags. That one only lasts like something like 1 to 2 hours, and if all things goes well, I will discharge by Saturday itself. So yeah, that's just kind of the updates. But yeah, today I kind of want to talk about something that happened during my first chemotherapy treatment, which I didn't really talk about, mainly because it was quite traumatizing to talk about. But it happened, and I just want to just want to share with you guys, and also kind of like I'll remember in future what I experienced during my stay in hospital. So um, during my probably my second or my third bag of chemotherapy, there was this just one night. There was this patient who was 2 or 3 doors away from my room in the middle of the night, like something like 1 a.m. So he started screaming, and it was quite painful to hear because that screaming just went on for like something like a 1 or 2 hour kind of scream. It wasn't really consistent scream for the 1 2 hours, but it was like every 5 to 10 minutes, and you were hearing screaming for a good solid 1 minute. So initially, I thought that he's probably experiencing vomiting because that's one of the common side effects of chemotherapy treatment, and I was in the cancer ward area, so I thought he was vomiting. And so basically, the next morning, I asked the nurse how was he, because I heard him screaming, and then nurses were rushing to his room. So the nurse actually told me that he wasn't vomiting actually. The reason for his scream was because he was really, really in pain and he couldn't breathe. So because he had lung cancer and he was already stage 4, and the cancer has spread throughout his body, and um, yeah, so he just couldn't breathe, and he was on pain management basically. So pain management just basically that means that he's just waiting to go because there's nothing else the doctors could do, and he couldn't do chemo anymore. So he was just basically managing the pain that he's experiencing. So um, once I heard the news, I kind of just broke because just knowing he was in pain, and I actually also kind of had very similar issues, which I'll kind of talk about in a bit. But yeah, so the next day, basically the morning after the screaming, the next 2 days, 2.5 days, kind of, his family came. So his family came, and yeah, so they were kind of like in his ward. And the next night, I actually did not hear any screaming anymore. So the following day, I actually asked the nurse like, so is he a lot better, because I didn't hear any more screaming, and the nurse actually said that well, that's because he's now on like kind of like a full dose already, like the pain management, because yeah, he probably wasn't really on a full dose, but because of that incident, I think they kind of increased his dose probably to the max they could give. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, so um, yeah, but the night. itself, I started hearing the flatline sound. I don't know. I mean, if you guys watch movies or even TV shows, you probably hear a flatline. I mean, when someone is in a hospital and they are kind of like dying, you kind of hear the that heartbeat monitor just go flatlines and they have this like a D sound like that. It's just a flatline sound. So I kept hearing that basically throughout the night, and also throughout the days a couple of times. Every few hours you probably hear like a flatline, and they probably did something to kind of um, revive him and make him last a little longer. But yeah, it was just really painful to hear because it happened kind of like throughout the day and throughout the night for the next day and basically the next 2 days. So it was really, really quite painful to listen to. And um, every time I listen to it and when I actually think about it, I actually kind of break because yeah, it was really just traumatizing to listen to, especially because his room is really so close. I mean, it was just 2 3 doors away, so it was really, really loud, and yeah, I could really clearly hear it. So yeah, yeah, it was just really traumatizing to hear, and that kind of made me think about my own condition before I started my first chemo. So I did not share this with many people, but so yeah, one of the issues I had prior to, I mean, the main reason why I even discovered I had cancer was because I had difficulty breathing when I was doing Muay Thai. So, but that particular difficulty of breathing kind of persisted all the way until I went into the hospital to do my first chemotherapy treatment. And back then, uh, back then, in order to counter this this difficulty problem, the doctor issued steroids. Yeah, they issued steroids, and every time I took these steroids, I actually could actually breathe. Without the steroids, I just couldn't function at all. I just couldn't breathe. Eating was a problem because I had to eat and breathe at the same time, so it was really a problem. So I wasn't really eating also. So um, at one point in time, and I was also very, very scared of chemo. I mean, I was just scared of going through the whole chemo process because I've heard multiple stories, and truth be told, um, my aunts, two of my aunt and even my grandfather passed away. I mean, sorry, my one of my aunt has passed away, and my grandfather passed away, both from cancer. Another aunt of mine is also going through cancer. So I've watched them go through chemo, and it's not really a pleasant thing. So I was really, really scared about going through chemo itself. So I actually did not want to go for chemo. I had this thought at one point um, of just saying of just not going chemo and just taking steroids for life basically because I could breathe normally and I could function as a normal human being every time I took steroids. I mean, it came with some side effects because I had some bloating as well, and then I had random fatigue. I could be very active at one point, but out of nowhere I could just be dead tired. So, but I didn't mind that side effects as long as I could breathe and function as a normal human. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to just give up on going for treatment and just kind of resign from my job, just live probably for another like 6 7 months. I didn't really mind, probably another year, just do what I want to do, kind of like travel a bit. Yeah, so that was what I wanted to do. So I had this thought ever since I knew I had cancer, all the way until I mean, just a couple, like probably like a few days before I started my chemotherapy treatment. So I just couldn't accept I had cancer. I just wanted to say screw it, and I just wanted to do just live with it with on steroids. It was until just a couple of days before my chemotherapy was supposed to start. So my father's friend, who was a doctor as well, he was radiologist, and his wife was anesthetic-logist or something like that. Yeah, so they both came. They came and visit, and because my doctor is actually a student of his wife. So doctor explained pretty much in detail to his wife, and his wife came and explained to me. So I actually asked, I mean, I because none of my parents knew, none of my family knew, not even my wife knew about me not wanting to do chemo. So I actually had a one probably, I mean, it's kind of like a 1-2 talk because both doctors were there, and then I was the only one with them. So I actually asked them whether is it possible that I just say screw chemo and I just live on steroids for the rest of my life. And they kind of changed my mind to it because they said that given my condition, no one knows how far can I live with steroids. It could not. I mean, it may not be the 6 months I was hoping for. Um, I mean, it could be even like 2 months, and then probably the next few months, I probably have to still go back to the hospital because the tumor. So the activity rate of my tumor is something around like 79%. So basically, it's a very very active cancer cell tumor. So it will grow. It will grow pretty rapidly. I mean, the max is 100%, so 79% it's pretty fast. So it could be probably 2 months or even 1 month, and I would just start to not be able to breathe, and steroids could no longer could no longer help me anymore. So yeah, I think that was the kind of the first time I actually broke down um, and just let it all out in front of them because they knew that. I mean, they also know the pain of going through chemo because they are doctors after all. So they kind of really consult me, something that I think my family couldn't really do because I didn't really want to break down in front of them because, well, I mean, if I'm going to break, then how about them? So I didn't break down in front of them, but I broke down in front of the two doctors. But yeah, so after that, then it kind of changed my perspective when I heard, I mean, when the patient, when the incident happened, and I kind of think back about myself too, about how I was also close to being almost like that. And yeah, I guess hopefully I'll never have to go through the same pain as he did. Um, if you're curious to know what happened to him, honestly, I don't know. But towards the end, when I finished my fourth bag of chemo, um, his family was no longer there, and I did walk by his ward, and I didn't see him there as well. So, uh, I mean, if he really did go, I really hope he went in peace and with no regrets. Yeah. Um, his I mean his pain really made me um, thought a lot, and it's very traumatizing. So this is kind of one of the story I wanted to share just before I go for my second cycle of chemotherapy treatment. Um, yeah, hopefully all things goes well, and I'll come out. Hopefully I just come out like how I am today with no problems. But yeah, if you guys like what you see, consider liking and subscribe, and I'll see you probably in a week's time, hopefully, or probably in something like 1.5 weeks or something like that, when I'm healthy again. So yeah, um, thanks for watching. See you soon. It's not working. All right, see you soon, guys.